I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, July the 15th, brought to you in part by Alliance Ag Risk Management, where their motto is hope for the best but always plan for the worst. To find out how they can help you manage your risk, go to allianceagriskmanagement.com. Optimism continues, and it's all in this feeder cattle market, guys. Your fat started selling for the week on Tuesday, about steady, so we didn't get much there. Your board didn't do a whole lot, except for your live cattle contracts were marginally lower. Feeder cattle didn't do a whole lot, but they were also some lower. A lot of this pressure coming from the continued shutdowns that we're seeing, and maybe this is not the second wave of the COVID, or maybe still in the first wave, but these Democratic governors just continue to want to lock everything down. As we get closer to the election, it seems like it's ramping up a little bit, and I can't stress to you guys enough about how screwed we are if Trump doesn't get back in. But the optimism that I saw here, I continue to report to you from Reno, Nevada here at Western Video Market's big summer sale here. And on Tuesday they got into some big calves and a lot of weaned calves. And many of them for late summer and early fall delivery, but my gosh, especially on these program cattle, guys, and that's been the talk about this whole sale here, is how the program cattle just continue to rise to the top. The number of buyers and the amount of attention that these cattle get when they have all the bells and whistles of them, they just increase. And I was talking with some guys, and maybe 20 years ago we talked about how your cattle had to have some kind of a health program, and it needed to be verified, and that was a big deal. You know, if that's the least you can have. These cattle got to have more programs on them, and if you want to achieve these big top prices for them, especially on long strings, yes, it's great if they're green and in a good condition and everything, but it just opens it up to so much more demand whenever you can get into some of these programs. And there's definite premiums for them, guys, and I know you guys have all heard the deal, well, there's no premiums in the cattle market, there's only discounts, and it's how much or how bad. But the premiums are very visible, and they're sizable. I mean, it's enough to save the ranch on or go broke. And you guys that have the ability to do it, you need to see about doing it. And you guys that just background, I think it could be worth your time to buy some of these lighter weights that have the programs, and then maintain those programs as you move them to your place and out on your backgrounding program there, because when you get them to be yearlings, you really got something. Weaned calves and yearlings, you really got something. On calves that are just on the cow, and we saw that on Tuesday, they can have a lot of programs too, but it doesn't mean as much until you get them away from those cows and get them hard weaned. But I think that's an opportunity for a lot of you backgrounders to get in on some of those program calves and maintain those programs. But on Tuesday there, Western Video Market here in Reno, Nevada, we just saw some stick-out deals. As soon as we started there Tuesday morning, we got on some fancy calves there, and they're weaned calves. You know, they're weaned steer calves. The Drew and Rochelle Hill cattle there, and I tell you what, they just rang all the bells. The absolute top market that we saw on anything. 326 weaned steers there, weigh 750 pounds, way out west, and 170 and a quarter. They were NHTC, non-hormone treated cattle. They were natural. They were GAP 4. They had non-GMOs. They'd just only been on grass there with no commodity feed. They were also organic. And you guys might roll your eyes at the organic deals, and you may not shop in an organic grocery store, but some people do. And those people that can afford to do it, they're willing to pay more for it, and those guys that are providing that product, they're willing to pay for it too. But those cattle ship July the 20th. You talk about some cattle that not necessarily had all the programs, but still just bringing top prices there. Rick Machado tells me this cowboy outfit, the Wasna Ranch there from Arroyo Grande, California there, they sold 310 weaned steers, 640 pounds. They were Western Video Market natural, but that's it. And didn't have all the verification deals, and didn't have the gap, and didn't have this, but just real top quality wean steer calves there. 310 of them weigh 640 for late July delivery at $160. And you guys want to garner those type of prices, and you have to earn it, either with quality or with these programs, or a combination of both. Let's talk about the board for Tuesday, August live cattle futures down 85 cents at 98.80. October down $1.10 at 103.10. You go on out from there, and then we're down 32 to down $1.22. August feeder cattle down 32 cents at 136.72. September down 60 at 137.47. You go on out to the out fronts on your feeder cattle board, down 30 to down $1.20. Like I said earlier, your fat cattle started trading, didn't have anything on Monday, but we started to see some things break loose, and we haven't really established the price, but we know it's going to be near steady as these cattle continue to sell. But Iowa sold some live sales there at $1. About 1,400 head of those confirmed, and that was encouraging there, because we was afraid we may lose the kind of the top end of that. And last week we had some 101 and a quarter, 101.50 on a deal or two, but basically $1 a pound live basis was the top of your market last week. We've already seen that. Nebraska, we didn't see any confirmed sales through mandatory price reporting there. Kansas, 8,400 head. That's significant trade in Kansas. 95 to 96 and a quarter, and that's right in there where they were a week ago. Texas, 4,400 head, all at 95. So basically a steady market there, and that's really good considering how much loss we've seen in your box beef cutout values. Tell you what, that they gouged, they earned, they were way up there, close to $5 a pound on these cutouts, and then they saw it back down to normal, and now we've dropped back from there, because now we're getting the resistance that we see this time of the hot summer, whenever we've gotten through a lot of our grilling holidays, and it's quite a ways off into Labor Day, so they haven't started really purchasing that much for that, and we're just getting to the hot dog days of summer, where it's just too damn hot to go out on the patio and cook your steaks, and folks would just rather have a BLT sandwich with some sweet corn with lots of butter and pepper put on it. But you look at the box beef cutout values on Tuesday afternoon. Choice cuts $200.92. That's down $2.34. That's pretty stiff loss, and I know you guys are used to that down 20 or 30. Well, we've gotten out of that volatility. Now we're just on a kind of a market basis there, and that's pretty stiff losses, guys, on a one-day movement. Your selects cuts 190.85 down $1.03, and 147 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. Your slaughter's about on pace with what we've been seeing. Let's talk about your feeder cattle markets on Tuesday. In your brick and mortar sales, your real-time index on DV auction on Tuesday afternoon was 135.01, gaining another 61 cents. That's based on an 800-pound steer up through the middle 12 states there, where your CME cash feeder cattle index comes from, but it's an automated report index there that comes to you so much faster. It's real time. That's why we call it the real time index. But gaining 61 cents on Tuesday with as strong as our markets have been, that's pretty significant. Let's look at some of your big sales on Tuesday. Ozarks Regional Stockyards, West Plains, Missouri, 3,900 head there, and I've told you guys before, that's extreme south central Missouri, just barely north of the Arkansas border there. But my friend Dan Hill there, former co-worker there, he called the market unevenly steady on 3,900 head there, except for the 7-weight feeders, and they were $4 to $8 higher, both steers and heifers. If you look at this automated market report on Cattle Market Central from DV Auction there, I cannot argue with that trend at all. And you see well-tested weights in all your weight groups there, and you don't see that in most sales, but you get in south central Missouri and you see that well tested in all the weights there, but you can see how much stronger it was on your 7 weights, and that's what the guys were really after. Let's go on further out east. Bluegrass Stockyards, Lexington, Kentucky, the flagship big fancy a place there that they just got through building. I mean, you won't find a fancier sale barn anywhere, and it gives you a lot of confidence that they were willing to spend that much money to build that kind of facility in this day and time where, 10 or 20 years ago, folks were saying these sale barns, they're a thing of the past. These sale barns are as strong as they've ever been. And just glad to see that new facility really getting the cattle in there, and look at these strings of yearlings that they have there. Pull these out of Cattle Market Central, all these load lots and bigger of yearling steers there, and the market reporter there at Lexington called those $2 to $4 higher on 1,200 head, which is a pretty good run when you get that far east. But man, look at the stick out deal that I saw in there on these load lots and bigger. Was the biggest bunch there, 2 loads, 128 head of 854 pound steers, bring 133.60 in Lexington, Kentucky. How about Kingsville, Missouri? Your West Central foremost sale barn there, Kingsville, the Anstein family there, they have a hell of a good sale on Tuesday. 100 head of 746 pound steers bring 145.85. But top quotes that I saw come out of Brad Hahn's sale barn there in Fredonia, Kansas. Look at this one string of steers, 199 head of 859 pound black and Charolais steers right there through the ring of Fredonia, bring 136.75. And then they had 4 loads of spayed heifers, mostly black, off the Pickett Ranch there. 4 loads of them weigh 774 at $140. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.